minutes just so we have it. Okay, she was talking to me, and so this meeting is being recorded. Okay, so this meeting is being recorded. And guys, I really just wanted to, share the notes that I took from IM3 with all of you guys for our team call. And then also our special guest today is going to be Mr. John Guaman, Chairman 100. And guys, I'm just so thankful and grateful to be able to just call him up and say, John, can you pour into the team for 10 minutes, 15 minutes? And he said, yes, Mandy, I definitely will. And I asked him to specifically train on what he trained on at the mastermind that we went to after day one of IM3. But guys, one of the main things that I'm going to be going over today is something that that Bryce Thompson, he opened up the entire event with. And so what he talked about, and you already know the vibes, I came with a slideshow, don't play with me. But one thing that he really talked about in the very beginning of IM3 is that, we each have a process. And so this call isn't going to be specifically on trading or specifically on building the business, but more so, this is a call to help all of you guys really get through your process here and get to the destination that you guys want to be at. And you guys know I say this on all the calls. I say how you do anything is how you do everything. And so when I was taking these notes, I was really taking like notes. And these are words that came straight out of Bryce Thompson's mouth. He said, you can either have a positive influence or a negative influence on people and on yourself. And that's why I played that personal development audio at the beginning of this call, because, I woke up this morning at like 8 a.m. East Coast, which is, super early on the West Coast. And I got up and I had breakfast and I did my affirmations and I did my goals. I set my goals for the day and I went on a run, and then I went to the gym, and then I did a couple calls, and then I got someone started. And I was leading by example because I was doing all of the things that I preach and practice to you guys on a daily basis. But let's be real, like we all have those days where our process just feels so tiring, draining, overwhelming, like exhausting. And it's those days that'll really test you in this business. And, I've heard this from multiple chairmen, is that your test becomes your testimony. And the process that you guys are going through right now, you really have to enjoy it. And what Bryce said is, he said, I'm just like you. He said, influence is attached to inspiration. He said, if I inspire you, that's great. He said, but I'm just like you. You all want a process. Everybody sees me for who I am now, not where I was before. And so it got me thinking is like in this business, a lot of people will come up to me, even at IM3, and they're like, Mandy, like you're different. Like, yo, like you move so quickly, or yo, like you are this or that. And I talked to Cruiser about it on my way home the first day. And I was like, they don't realize what my process looked like before this academy. And so all of you guys, everybody that's on this call, I love you. You know how much I care about you guys. And you know how much I really try, all of us as leaders really go above and beyond to try to figure out how to help you. And shout out to all of the leaders that are in the focus group that we just created, all the P1Ks and above, because they really are going hard to build relationships, make sure people are set up for success, make sure people are enjoying the process. And one thing that Eric with the jokes, fear factor. One thing that, I really want to let you guys know is that the work that you're putting in right now, the seeds that you plant, the same day you plant the seed, you don't eat the fruit. And so right now you might be putting in this work and putting in this work and putting in this work. And Cody always says this, he's like, oh, I love instant gratification. Where's my instant gratification? But you don't always get it. And the thing is that right now, the work that you guys are doing, it's going to reflect in 2 to 3 months. And the leads that you guys are finding and the work you're putting in on the charts, it's not going to happen right away. And so my biggest tip of advice for anybody that's brand new or anybody that's struggling right now is push yourself to get through your process so that you can get to a year in this business, if I knew that I was going to get to where I am now on the charts and on the business side a year ago, a lot of self-doubt would have been left behind. And you can ask CJ, you can ask Leanne, you can ask Karen. I doubted my capabilities. I doubted myself in the beginning, guys. Am I smart enough? Am I good enough? Am I gonna be enough? Can I do it? Will I do it? But guys, that was part of my process. And so I want you to realize that every one of us is going through a process right now. Every single one of us is putting in mad work, or maybe you're not. If you're not, put in the work. But if you are putting in the work, you have to realize you're gonna go through trials and tribulations in this business and in life. And in life, this isn't just Forex stuff. This is real life shit. You are gonna go through hard times. You are gonna go through difficulty, through struggle. But you have to take that moment that you're going through that to grow through it, to grow through that. Because those trials and tribulations that you're dealing with on the charts, when it hits stop loss, they're preparing you to get that big win. Those little mistakes that you're making when you forget to put in your stop loss, or maybe you accidentally over leverage, it's teaching you, Eric, it's teaching you the right way so that you can get to where you want to be. And I had to go through losing a lot of money hella early in the morning with Karen. I had to go through, not moving my stop loss or being greedy and not taking partials to realize that that was part of my process in learning what was right and what was wrong. And the same thing goes with building. I had to, unfortunately, lack in certain areas of leadership so that I could realize what areas I needed to step up in. And Cruiser asked me a question earlier. He goes, Mandy, how is your personal sponsoring going? And I was like, great, why? But I knew why he was asking. He was asking because he sees that I'm lacking. He sees that I was getting into a management mode. So for those of you guys that are leaders on this call, obviously at the end of the day, all of us have to lead ourselves, but don't get stuck in management mode. You really want to empower and inspire and impact people, but nobody signed up here to have a boss. And I'm gonna be real with all of you guys. I'm not your boss. If I gotta call you and tell you to grind and tell you to work and tell you to get on the charts, you're not ready fully. So ask yourself, do you only hop on these calls because your mentor is sending you these calls? Or are you hopping on because every single Monday at 8 p.m. PST, we have a team call? Come on. Eric, stop messing around, bro. Pay attention, bro. You're going in the back of the class. Like, we're gonna put you on that one desk that in the back. You and Cody. Focus up. Yeah, focus up, bro. Nah, I'm playing. But for real, what the beauty of all of this, guys, is like, I know that Eric's playing around, but he's mad focused. He's taking notes, his camera's on, he's a student. And I want you guys to just don't try to be a professional trader right away. Don't try to be a professional builder right away. Be a professional student. And that goes back to my process. My process is that when I went out of high school, I always thought the way that for me to get out of poverty, the way for me to get out of a home environment that was very difficult growing up, that was very, 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 very hard to not be like, was to go through a process. So I went to school and I put in mad work, you guys. Like, it might seem like I'm just great at this, but the reason that I'm so great at this is because I had to develop those strengths in different jobs. I was telling Cruiser this. I used to have a job where people used to hang up on me 300 times every single freaking day. You know what I developed through that? Resiliency. You know what else I developed through that? Practice. Because I used to have a boss named Kyle, and Kyle used to make me practice how I was going to reach out to people on the phone so that I didn't get hung up on 300 times a day. And even though I practiced and I perfected it, I still got hung up on 300 times a day. And that was part of my process when I had to coach a team of 30 individuals, 30 kids, and then it became 60 kids. I coached 60 kids at once. How do you think I'm so good at managing so many people at once? Because I had to go through my process. Some of y'all are struggling to manage 12. Some of y'all are struggling to manage yourself. Let's be real. You know what's crazy is I was listening to a Les Brown audio, and he was talking about the hardest thing about being a leader is when you stop leading and doing the calls and the speeches, and then you got to go take your own advice. That's the hardest fucking thing. I could get on this call all day long and teach you guys something, but me taking my own advice is just as hard as you guys taking my advice. So I'm going through that process with you. So realize, like, we're all here. We're all human. We're gonna have times that are hard. We're gonna have times that are fun. We're gonna have times that fucking suck. And then we're gonna have times that we don't wanna get on that Zoom call. But that Zoom call had the thing that we needed to speed up our process. And I know that Eric today was on a call that I did, and then he told Cruiser, yo, that call is something I needed so that I could perfect my process. So I want you guys to enjoy the process, okay? Now, the thing that gets me through the process the most is having a big ass vision. My vision is so big that I was on a call, doing a call for a leader. His name's C. John. He's a Chairman 10 earlier today. And I was telling his team that I've always had this ability to see the way things are, and my heart saw something different. And so that's what I believed. I was a delusional optimist for years. I lived in a car. I lived in a trailer. I lived in someone's room, one room of a house that was a drug house where people were just constantly like screaming and yelling, and it was so uncomfortable. But that's not what I saw it as. In my room, I decorated it, and I had this big vision that I was gonna be, when I was younger, I thought I was gonna be like the next huge singer, superstar. So there's this quote that I love, and it says, never let your eyes determine what your heart believes, right? So you wanna make sure that even though you see something, and it might not be the house that you want, if you believe within you, look, shout out to Karen. Karen be on her story, be posting mansions and letting me know. I'm like, oh yeah, that's the house I'm gonna get. You have to have this vision. But the thing is we can't just like visualize and be delusional, like to the point where we're not putting in the work. Your vision needs a plan. Okay. So all of us, you know, if you have a vision for your wedding, if you have a vision for your future, if you have a vision for, you know, yeah, Karen Sparkles on YouTube. If you have a vision for, you know, who you want to be in a year, what plan do you have? What DMOs are you doing every single day? What IPAs are you doing every single day? What are you doing to ensure that your vision comes true? Because the thing that David Imanitie, he kept talking about at the event is how you really have to the word eyes has the word yes in it. And he was talking about this, and I was like, yo, this is so fire. Let me actually pull up the notes. CJ did not lie. Like, he was the best part of the whole thing. So what he talked about at IM3 was vision. Like, that's all he talked about. And he said, where you are right now doesn't matter. It's where you're going. And you have to cast this huge vision that's larger than you, that's larger than your life, that's larger than anything that you can think. And I was just so moved by him because he played this music, had us close our eyes. And I visualized in my head, when he had me do this, the highest version of myself. The person that was not only with material things, guys, but the person that was happier, the person that had more time, the person that could say, yo, I really did put in the work to get here. Because let's be real, like, I could hand you guys success right now, but this is not a lottery ticket. But if I could hand you success right now, you probably wouldn't know what to do with it because you didn't work for it. But if you go through your process and you use those 5 senses that you have with your goals, everything you see in your mind is a yes. You see yourself with that luxury car? Yes. You see yourself with that person that elevates you, advances you in life? Yes. You see yourself overcoming those obstacles that you've been dealing with it for years? Yes. Why? Because your eyes can see it. And in the word eyes is yes. And David Imanitie was going over this, and he said what I always say on calls. He said, write the vision, make it plain, for he who reads it run. This is a Bible scripture. He says, I don't see the back office. I speak to the back office. This was fire. David said, I see increase. I see it growing. I see value. I see myself growing. I see myself giving. He said, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm a chairman. So you want to have your goals everywhere. You want to have, these are the 3 things that you need to have a big vision, to believe. If you don't believe yet, these are the 3 things you need. Okay, so write them down. Words is the first thing you need. Words. I am so happy and grateful now that I am the highest version of myself, right? I am the most powerful version of myself. Now, the second thing you need is images, vision boards. Images. Look at this. Look at Cruiser. Cruiser is a boss. Don't play with Cruzy Cruz. Look at him. Don't play with this man. Okay? He has this right here on his desk where I'm sitting. Okay? He has a quote. It says, the moment your belief matches with any state you fuse with it, and this union results in the activation and projection of its plots, plans, conditions, and circumstances. Cruiser has this on his desk. He has pictures of things that he wants. Leanne has it as her screensaver. John has it in his office. So the first thing that you need is words. The next thing that you need is images. The last thing that you need is emotions. Emotions like love and gratitude. Love and gratitude. Okay? Now, when John gets on this call, because he's not on it yet, he's going to get on it in a few. When John gets on this call, at the end of this call, I want our team to express gratitude to him by posting him on social media, by messaging him on Instagram and saying, thank you for getting on the call. And I want us to do this with every speaker that comes on and takes the time out of their day to pour into us. If we can all move in synchronicity towards our common goal, our common vision with love and gratitude, we're going to elevate, all of us. So I want you guys to hold the vision that you have right now. If it's something, that you think is unbelievable, believe it, and trust the process. Okay. Now, the second thing is focus. And I think this is where I lacked a lot in the beginning. I know that this is where I lacked a lot in the beginning. One of the chairmen said this, and it made me feel so good because I had already trained on this before. He said, the secret is found in your focus. The number 1 cause of failure is broken focus. Karen talked about this on her Life by Design ladies call. She said, when you get on a go live, when you're texting and you're bullshitting, or you're on a phone call with your boo, or you're swiping right on Tinder, you're not learning the charts. You're breaking your focus. So if you guys have distractions, which we all get very distracted, I get so distracted sometimes, so distracted, and I'm working on it. It's something that I don't want. I don't want to not be present with my team, with my family, with the people in my life. I want to be so in tune with and give my energy and my presence to the person I'm speaking to, that what I've started to do is, if I have distractions, I distract myself with my goals. Meaning, when I'm not even gonna lie to you guys, I'm gonna be really real on this call. If I could be really real on this call, type the word real in the chat. Okay, if I can be really real on this call, type the word real on the chat. Give me permission. Okay, real. So earlier I got distracted and yesterday I got distracted. I wanted to go out and party. Today I got distracted and I was super stressed. And thank God I'm not like I was, but I used to be a huge pothead, you guys. And I had a little bit of something. I'm like, should I smoke real quick? Before I had a call. And then I remembered, bro, that's not going to help me at all with keeping myself focused for this call. And so I distracted myself with my goal, which my goal was to help the people that I was getting on the call with for C. John's team and leave them better than I found them. So you really do get what you focus on. If I focus on partying, then I'm going to be a party animal. If I focus on my team's going to grow. If I focus on hitting chairman, I'll hit chairman. If I focus on hitting 6 figures in my trading account, being consistent on the charts, I'll get on the charts. So how can you focus on, what should you be focusing on? Focus on routine. Your daily routine will take you to your dreams. It's so true. Focus on growth. Focus on solutions. I hate focusing on a problem. Focus on solutions. If you feel like you're not getting it in this academy, what can you do to make yourself better? If you feel like you're not making money on the charts, what should you be focusing on so that you can make money on the charts? You got to focus on the end goal. And the secret really is found in your focus. You don't get results by focusing on the results. You get results by focusing on the action that lead you to the results, that produce the results, the routine. That's how you get the results. So you got to reverse engineer your goal. And honestly, you got to get shit done. At the end of the day, you have to be in charge of your life. I love when I go around Nikki because I always know when there's a system call because she has a timer on her phone. It says system call. Every time I'm like, oh, it's 6 o'clock again. Because anytime Nikki's around, I know that there's a call because she is tapped in. So you got to figure out how can you get shit done? How, if you're not prospecting and you're a leader on this call, how can you change that? Do you need a timer? Do you need a reminder? Do you need an accountability partner? What can you do to make it better? What can you do? When you feel like you don't have motivation, what sparks motivation for you? So I want you guys to really make sure that you're focusing on the possibilities of success rather than on the potential for failure. Because if all of us were to just sit here and go, man, I'll never be a good trader, I'll never get to chairman, I'll never get that car I want, then you never will. You never will. And anytime I doubted myself on the charts, I would like be such a complainer to CJ, and he would remind me that like I had to come up with a solution. I had to believe that I could before I could. So if you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. You're right. You're right. If you believe, if you're close to getting to the retreat and you're almost a P1 and you're a P6 right now, and you're like, fuck, I've lost, I can't get there. You've already lost because you already believed that. Yo, if you believe in yourself and you believe that you can be successful at anything that you focus on, whether it be this business or not, type I believe in the chat. If you firmly believe that you will be a billionaire, a millionaire, type I believe in the chat. Say it out loud. Say I believe. If you're in the house with someone,
I believe.
Like, what's good? Say it out loud. I believe. Yeah, unmute yourself. Everybody unmute yourself.
I believe.
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 I was waiting for someone to say I could fly. I was like, no, don't bring R. Kelly into our call. No, not appropriate. Nah, but for real, like it really does start with you believing. I believe is such a powerful, powerful, powerful phrase. I believe, I am, I can, I will. Not if I, not maybe if, not hopefully if I can, nah, when I will, I can, I believe, I am. Okay. Now we can believe, but we also got to put in the work. So when you put in the work, 10 push-ups. Yeah. Anybody who doesn't say like you do 10 push-ups on the spot. We're going back to cheer practice. So guys, sacrifice, right? And it's something that every chairman talked about. And I took notes on every single one. They said that you got to pay the price now so you can pay any price later. I love that quote. There's a price that you have to pay in order to live the life you want to live. Like Nick Hall didn't just become like a chairman on the charts by manifesting it. He had to sacrifice time. He had to sacrifice comfortability, sleep, you know, and I've sacrificed a lot for this business. And I've heard a lot of people that were chairman at IM3 talk about it. They kept saying like, you know, that they had sacrificed friends. Type of one in the chat if you've sacrificed something to be here. Friends, money, time, people, places, things. We all are sacrificing things. Your last dollar, we're all sacrificing things. I sacrifice my degrees practically because I'm not using them. I sacrificed a relationship because it wasn't allowing me to elevate the way I needed to. So sometimes you need to give something up in order to go up. Honey Morgan said on her TV, she has a white paper and it says $100,000 liquid cash. And she refused to turn on her TV until she had that $100,000 liquid cash. Now, guess what homegirl has in her bank? $100,000 liquid cash. So, you know, I love Grey's Anatomy and I love Criminal Minds and I love Stranger Things, but I had to give that up so I could get on the charts. I love laying around and doing nothing and eating and just chilling. but I want to be comfortable in my life and I have to sacrifice things now. You can pay the price now, or you could pay the price later, but you have to pay the price. All of us though will have an excuse at one time or another, and awareness is key. And so I've realized that I've taken full responsibility for anything. I'm gonna be real. Earlier, I lost Cruiser's gym key. I have to pay $100 for it. And I could have made an excuse and be like, oh, well, you know, I was just like, yo, I fucked up and I have to buy you a new key. And so tomorrow I'm hoping and praying that but if they didn't, stop, Cody. Oh no. He said always losing some keys. Oh, sheesh. Second time. Look, I can be stronger. You have to be stronger than your excuses. And so later on, you're going to reap the reward of the sacrifices and the processes you're going through right now. And, you know, some of you have sacrificed TV. Some of you guys have sacrificed time with your family. Some of you guys have sacrificed, but there is no change without sacrifice. And one thing that I know women do is they adjust and they learn to love the process. And so CJ used to always say this to me before he would be frustrated on a call. He used to go, I don't have to do this. I get to do this. And so next time you feel a little frustrated, I want you to say that out loud. I don't have to do this. Don't sacrifice for what we want usually will become the sacrifice. Now, when you sacrifice, you're going to need two things in order to really get up to the top of the charts, of the business, of life: coachability and resiliency. So one thing in Your Wish is Your Command that I love about tape 1 is he talks about your coachability index. So ask yourself, how coachable are you? When you were given the onboarding process, did you go through it at the time that your mentor asked you to? When you got on Go Live and someone taught you risk management, did you follow it? How coachable were you? How coachable are you? Michael Jordan said, my best skill was that I was coachable. I stayed a sponge and aggressive to learn. And I want everybody on this call to become a professional student when it comes to chart, when it comes to business. And you have to become submissive. What do I mean by that? I mean that you have to be willing to do anything and everything that is told to you so that you can be successful. There's a guy named Diego on Ruben's team, and he turned $500 to $5,000 in the matter of a few weeks. And Ruben asked him, bro, like, how'd you do that? And he told Ruben, I just did what you told me to do. And Ruben started laughing and he told me, damn, I should take my own advice. And I thought that was so funny because that's happened to me too. I've had people come into my business and make way more money. Russell on the call right now, he's a chairman on the charts. Don't play with Russell, right? And the reason is because he's coachable and submissive to the information. When he's given advice, he listens and he takes it. He doesn't just play with it. Guys, don't play with it. Don't play with this opportunity. Don't play with the mentorship. Don't play. Everybody type don't play. Put don't play in the chat because you can't play when it comes to this business. Like, you gotta be so like receptive to the information, a sponge, and don't let yourself get an ego. Don't ever let yourself, you know, think that you got it already. Oh, I got Cash Trap. I still get on Cash Trap trainings. I still get on DCX Swipe Coin trainings. I've been on 100. You don't get it. You're always getting it. And you can always learn something from someone. Every single one of you guys could run a training right now and I could learn something from you. So don't develop an ego. You know, sometimes people come and they're like, oh, well, this shit doesn't work. And I'm like, bro, does it not work or do you not work? Because this shit works. If you know with every part of you that this works, type it works in the chat. If you've made money off the services, if you've seen that this is real, put it works in the chat. And as you guys flood the words it works in the chat, everybody realize that. Because I used to get on calls and I used to wonder, like, how come everybody else is successful but me? It was because I wasn't working. And then when I did start to work and I had a failure moment or I had a struggle, I was like so upset. I was such a brat and I needed to be more resilient. And those of you guys who dare to fail greatly, you can achieve greatly. But if you don't dare to fail greatly, then you can never achieve greatly. So a huge thing in this culture of our group is reflection. How do you react when you struggle, when you don't get what you want, when you don't have instant gratification? How do you react? When you lose a trade, how do you react? When you lose a member on your team, how do you react? When someone tells you that this is a scam, how do you react? You break your computer now. No. How do you react? Kobe Bryant said, everything negative, pressure, challenges is all an opportunity for me to rise. Yo, Mamba mentality. Mamba mentality. Okay. Now, the next thing that I learned, I'm almost done, and then I'm gonna bring John up. EFD. Everybody type EFD in the chat. EFD, not RFD. What are you, bro? You dyslexic? EFD. EFD. Every fucking day. This is something Mr. Banks taught me. He said, you got to work on your dreams every fucking day. You got to keep going every fucking day. What are you willing to give up to go up? Pick yourself up every fucking day. Each day believing, even when doubt drifts into your mind, every fucking day, you got to keep going. Whatever you got to do it now. Or else life's going to knock you down and you're going to surrender 10 years later and you'll wish you put in the work now. You have to have faith. Faith is going to give you the patience, and you got to deal with problems and you got to deal with trials and tribulations every fucking day. You got to push yourself. It's not going to be easy. In fact, it's going to be challenging. It's going to be hard, but whatever problem you have, you can't ignore it. It will not go away on its own, and you have to deal with it every fucking day. You have to do DMOs, IPAs every fucking day, just like you got to brush your teeth. Bro, like brushing our teeth is not an option. Why is working on ourselves? Why is working on our goals? Like personal development is right up there with brushing your teeth, with taking a shower every fucking day. You got to wear a mask in a store, EFD. So grind, stop making excuses every fucking day. When Mr. Banks taught this, I was like, yo, he actually ran a really fire training, but it was very intense. And I'm like, I cannot come to my freaking team on a Monday. Yo, let me just read this to you guys. Let me just read you guys. I was like, I'm not going to train on this. Like, it was very intense. Like, he was like yelling, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to go and do that. Okay, so yo, Mr. Banks is mad funny, like mad funny. Like he was going in. I was like, what is happening? Okay. He said 7 secrets in 7 minutes. This cracks me up. Okay. He said, number 1, this shit is serious. He said, number 2, he said, it's I'm Cap. So he made all of us say, I'm Cap out loud. Like everybody, he's like, you said you were going to be coachable, Cap. You said you were going to show up on the chart, Cap. Like he was going in. He said, number 3, you stopped being coachable. Number 4, stop playing games with this business. Number 5, sacrifice. Number 6, every fucking day. Number 7, make the decision and stop making excuses. I was like, yo, that is a crazy training. And I don't know if I'm going to go to my team for that. So guys, the last thing that I'm going to leave you guys with is reflection. Let me text John because he's ready. Reflection is really key to growth. And when you reflect, you don't want to reflect backwards. You want to reflect forwards. And so this is a quote that I found. It says, I'm reflective only in the sense that I learn to move forward. I reflect with a purpose. So reflection is one of the most underused yet powerful tools for success. Self-reflection entails yourself asking yourself questions about values, assessing strengths, failures, thinking about perceptions, interactions with others, imagining where you want to go, where you want to take your life. Don't become preoccupied with everything that's happening around you. Pay more attention to what's going on within you, how you're feeling at the moment, how you're allowing yourself to react in the moment. It's something that I'm really trying to work on, and I'm not perfect at all. In fact, it's one of the main things that I really need to work on the most, being able to be aware. And so I'm going to leave you guys with this, and then I'm going to bring up the C100 himself. The more reflective you are, the more effective you are. So I want you guys to really reflect on where you are right now, what your bank account looks like right now, right? There's that thing on Instagram. It says, how do I get motivation? And it says, look at your bank account. But it's really true. Like, look at yourself up to this point and reflect on that. And guys, if you're not where you want to be on the charts, if you're not where you want to be in this business, if you're not where you want in life, mentally, physically, emotionally, reflect. Okay, really reflect every fucking day. Everybody type EFD in the chat. Type EFD in the chat, because everything that I just taught you, we need to do it EFD every fucking day. No excuses. No excuses. Blow up the chat. Blow up the chat. Blow up the chat. Blow up the chat. I need you to feel it. Everybody unmute yourself. Say every fucking day. Unmute yourself. Say every fucking day.
Every fucking day.
Every fucking
day.
day.
Every motherfucking day. Every fucking day. Every motherfucking night.
Period.
Let's go. So guys, I am gonna step out of the way of greatness. This man just turned 25 yesterday. So everybody type some happy birthdays to the C250, right? Happy birthdays, type C250 in the chat, right? Because for his birthday, we're gonna get this man to C250. This person is always pouring into the organization, has a system that is amazing, is putting together this huge event, and is always leading from the front. We appreciate you. We are inspired by you on a daily basis, and really just looking forward to you sharing some value, any value you want to provide. I was telling them about your mastermind. So John, if you're here on the call, I'm going to mute myself, make you host, and you can take it away. C250, let's go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Can you guys, yes, ma'am. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Drop some 777s in the chat box if you guys can hear me. Drop some 777s in the chat box, fam. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got like 91 people on the call. Damn, I didn't even know it was going to be that many. Okay, fire. Let's get those 777s in the chat box to really consistently keep going, guys. Let's get those 777s in the chat box to consistently keep going. One big thing I kind of wanted to talk about today, guys, is just really perspective. I feel like a lot of times I get on these calls and, I kind of talk about multiple different types of subjects. I talk about like, certain different types of like high income skills. Because the reality is a lot of times people in this entire business, they think that it's like, okay, they got to take the action. But the reality is when you're taking action in order to build up the skills. If you can have the skills, guys, the high income skills follow you anywhere. So you'll never go broke again. For my biggest thing, I truly believe that I will never go below a 6 or 7 figure income ever again in my entire life because I have the skills. And what you want to make it a goal of yourself to really do is to develop those skills, to really pour into the action in order to acquire the skills. Because once you have the skills, they follow you forever. Sales are temporary, okay? Multiple different things in your life is just temporary, but your value, your skills are something that's infinite, or something that's forever. So high income skills, are obviously going to lead you very, very far, but it's not going to really be the only thing that's going to get you to where you want to be, right? Obviously, your belief plays a role. Your ability to go out there and really portray the message to the masses play a massive role. But reality is, I want to talk a little bit about like self-awareness tonight, because I feel like it's one of the most misunderstood concepts in the entire, business and in your entire life. Being able to kind of navigate and adjust and being able to be self-aware of where you are right now in the business. And understanding where you're at right now doesn't necessarily matter. All that matters is where you're going. But let's look at the process, right? To go from A to B, or to get from one destination to the other destination, you have to be aware of what process, what belief systems you need to have in order to really get to that level. Because a belief system right now might serve you to go from A to B, but that same belief system won't serve you to go from B to C. So what is your belief system? Let me ask you guys questions, because one of the biggest things that I really love to do is ask people questions, because when we question something, we can kind of self-analyze, self-reflect. And for me, I always talk about my process in the business being like action, 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 right? Study and reflect, and then take action, action, action in order to learn from that reflection. So let me ask you guys, what areas right now do you believe you can adjust in? Okay, whether that is the trainings, whether that is the launch, whether that is the trading, whether that whatever areas you need to adjust in right now, you're very self-aware. The subconscious mind is one of the most powerful things in the entire world. But you're going to be able to be very self-aware on what areas you can adjust just by simply asking yourself the questions. You know, for me in the beginning, I remember it was more of a belief thing. It was more of like an action taking thing. And I wasn't being able to take action because my belief wasn't there yet. I didn't have the results. Okay. I got rejected multiple different times. I didn't have the skills, and all those things, okay, prevented me from getting from point A to point B. But once I switched my perspective and I was self-aware of what was really holding me back, I had to get the resources in order to get to that next level. What did I do when I didn't have the skills? I picked up a skill set book. What did I do when I didn't have necessarily the belief system? I inherited a new belief system, or I got around the proximity of people that had the belief system, right? I got around the 6-figure earners. I got around the 7-figure earners, and that proximity helped me make millions later down the line. It didn't show up right there, but it showed up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years later. So that helped me build my belief system, the proximity. That's why the event is important. You know, we talk about the event a lot. I haven't even come up and kind of talked a little bit about it, but proximity plays such a huge role because you're able to really see where everybody else is going, able to see how everybody else thinks. What is the process? And, you know, when you know, what else was it that really held me back in the beginning? I remember it was like the fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear of like, you know, fear just in general, right? It's like a cancer that withholds a lot of us in our business, whether it's the fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear about what other people think, the fear of you not necessarily being enough. So I want you to focus on whatever fears you have right now. And one thing I pride myself on is being kind of fearless. I'm pretty fearless up until this point in time. I was reading this one book that I'm very, very into. It was called Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter by 50 Cent. And he actually partnered up with Robert Greene, who talks about the 50th law. Now, the 50th law talks about fear, basically being fearless. And the craziest part about fear is not only does he talk about fear being essentially an illusion, but fear isn't even necessarily real. Danger is a very real thing, but fear isn't real. Let me kind of fix your perspective on fears, like fear of failure. I'll give you an example. You need to fail. I feel like a lot of times, you know, people look at the chairman, they look at the chairman 750s, they look at the chairman elite, they look at Alex, they look at the chairman 100s. And a lot of times people idolize or think that they were a different anomaly, like something, they were just bred different. It was something in their DNA. It was absolutely nothing. The only thing that differentiates the top earners from every single other person is that they failed more often than none. Okay, they failed more often than any single person in the entire world. That's the reality. They took more no's, but they never took the no's personally, right? They went through more trials. They went through more tribulations. I look at failure as not even no such thing as a failure, just a stepping stone. Okay, the definition of failure is when you quit something, right? If you never quit, you'll never essentially fail. Life in itself is a process of failures along the line in order for you to get better at something. So the fear of failure, get rid of that paradigm or that idea, okay? Failure doesn't exist, okay? Let me give you another example. Fear of rejection. People are never rejecting you. They are rejecting themselves. I want you guys to have a clear-cut picture on what I mean by that. A lot of times people never are rejecting you. They're rejecting themselves. Okay. When they say no, they're not saying no to you. Get that perspective shifted out of your mind. Okay. They're saying no to either themselves or the current moment of the opportunity. A no is not a no forever. A no is just a no temporarily. And I want you guys to understand that very clearly, because a lot of times people take the no's, they take the rejections way too seriously. Okay. When someone says no to you, they're not saying no to you. They're saying no to themselves. I said this so many times, and I might be a little aggressive, but dude, anybody with a fucking brain is going to get involved with I Am Master Academy. Anybody with a brain, anybody that legitimately understands trading, understands e-commerce is at least going to give it a try, because I remember paying about $5,000 for my first stock trading course. I Am Master Academy is $200-300. It's a pair of shoes, literally. I think the biggest problem in this industry, or the biggest problem with I Am Master Academy, is that it's too cheap. And because it's too cheap, the quality of people are usually cheap. Okay, so just understand that they're not saying that you fear of rejection, it's non-existent. They're saying more 9 times out of 10 no to themselves. And if you're getting a consistent amount of no's, okay, even going through your numbers, going through the law of averages, I want y'all to understand something even clearer. Okay, even with that, okay, it might be a small portion of it you, but it's not you as a person if your intentions are clear. It just might be your ability to have the right skills, your ability to be able to show them that you can help them achieve their goals. And the last thing is building their trust. That's really all it is. So get rid of the fear of failure. Get rid of the fear of rejection. Get rid of the fear about what other people think about you. I think that's another big thing. We live in a society so much where there are so many different types of people that have all the opinions in the world, right? Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has them, right? It doesn't mean that opinions, okay? It doesn't mean that, how do I say this? It doesn't mean that opinions, not every single opinion should count. I'm very weary of what I let into my mind, the people I let into my mind, okay? Let me give you guys an example. If you were, when you, let's say you were in the hood, okay? If you're in the hood and you're driving around and you got a brand new 2020 Rolls Royce, okay? That's your mind. It's an analogy for your mind. You're driving around in the hood, you got a Rolls Royce. Okay, you get out of the car for a second because you have to go visit somebody. Are you going in inside that car? You have your laptop, you have your notebooks, you got your Gucci handbag, you got, okay, your iPad. Are you going to lock the keys to that car? Are you going to lock the keys to that car in the hood, in an area where it's not so good? There's a lot of crime. Okay, it's a very negative area. Are you going to probably lock the keys to that car? Are you probably are, right? Yes or no? Probably, right? You're going to definitely lock the keys to that car. Drop a 7 in the chat if you were to lock the keys to that car, right? Drop a 7 in the chat. Okay, of course you would lock the keys to that car. Okay, why? To protect what you have inside of it. Okay, look at your iPhone. What do we have? We all have what? Passwords, right? We have passwords. You can't go into the iPhone unless you have a password. Okay, your crypto wallet. Do you just let your crypto wallet open so anybody can go into it? Or do you have a password? You have a password for your crypto wallet. When you walk out of your house, unless you live in a gated community, do you lock the doors or you leave the doors right open? Okay. Questions like this. Okay. Do you let anybody into your circle? Do you let anybody into your energy? Or are you very protective of it? Because the reality is, just like we have passwords on our phones, we have passwords on our laptops, we lock the keys to our car. Just like we do this, we have to be very weary of the people that come into our mind. Okay. I'm very, very, very protective of the influences and also the people I allow to give me their opinion. Because if they have no results, if I wouldn't want to switch places with them, okay? And number 3, if, okay, they just in general are just a bad person, don't have good intentions, I am not going to listen to that person. Those are the 3 things that really I protect my mind from. If they don't have those 3 qualities, I'm not going out there and even allowing a bit of that information to be soaked up in my subconscious mind. I spent the last 20 years, not 18 years of my life doing that, the first 18 years. And that is the same reason I was broke, right? I listened to people like that already for the first 18 years of my life. That's why I was broke, right? The moment I started listening to wealthier people around 2016, 2015, that's when the wealth started to kick in. Why? Because I was listening to billionaires, bro. I was listening to how millionaires thought. And I consistently opened the lock to my head to 6, 7, and 8, and 9 figure earners for more than 5 years, and then it finally caught up. So I want you guys to eliminate some of the things that you guys have, okay, in your mind right now. Eliminate those belief systems. Your belief systems are more powerful than anything else. Like I said, once again, what got you to point A to point B isn't going to be the same belief system that is going to get you from point B to point C, or from point C to point D. At every single level, you're going to have to inherit a new thought process, a new paradigm. What is a paradigm? A lot of times I talk about that. People have no idea what I'm talking about. A paradigm is a set of thoughts, habits, beliefs, and ideas that you have right now for yourself and the world. These are just false constructs. These are just illusions that you've made up to yourself. Who knows when you made it up? You might have made it up to yourself 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 100 years ago. This is the thing, the illusion that you've made up for yourself, you can change it. And if you can change that illusion, guess what? You can change your entire life, okay? Now, they serve us and benefit us, these beliefs, and they also are used against us. We have to be very, very aware of that. Right. So when I'm talking about self-awareness, I'm talking about these type of questions. I'm talking about what are the thoughts, what are the conversations that you're having every single day within yourself, within the business, bro, within the business and yourself. More than 99% of the conversations that we have within our every single day are with ourselves. Are they positive conversations? Are they negative conversations? Yo, are we our biggest critic or are we our biggest fan? Right? Ask yourself those questions. Am I my biggest critic or am I right now my biggest fan? How am I operating on a day-to-day basis? Okay, am I a delusional optimist or am I a realist? And guess what? Most realists are broke. Most realists are depressed. Most realists that are not thinking about pushing the envelope and innovation, okay, those are the people that end up on the sad road of mediocrity. That is just the reality, right? But what I'm trying to break down to y'all is like really some of the bigger level questions when I break down perspective, when I break down self-awareness, because our perspective, man, is janky. Like we've been sold this idea, this belief system of how to live, how to think from the moment that we are born. And we have to be able to shift these every single day. We have to make it a primary focus of ours in order to really move forward as a society. This is why personal development plays a huge role. Okay, but there's 4 different types of knowledges. I feel like this is another thing. This is the last thing I'll give you guys on here. And I wasn't really going to go on here, and I just kind of got passionate about, okay, perspective and self-awareness. Okay, let me give you guys the 4 different types of learning, because there's 4 main types of learning. Okay, the first type of learning that I'm going to give you guys is, or there's 4 types of knowledges. The first type of knowledge is learning knowledge. So learning knowledge has essentially everything to do with you learning something, reading something, picking up a book, studying the information. So I love learning knowledge. I mean, obviously, you know, I'm somebody that does read books. I'm somebody that loves to listen to different types of audios every single day. It's called learning knowledge. There's 4 different levels of knowledges, okay, out there. So the first knowledge, like I said, is learning knowledge, right? That's when you're, like I said, you're picking up books, you're reading something, you're actually learning, okay, about something. That's called learning knowledge, okay? Learning knowledge. Now, obviously, reading works. Obviously, listening to audios from 7-figure earners and 6-figure earners, that stuff works 100%, right? Because you're now reprogramming the way that you're thinking over time. Now, that's not the only way to learn now, okay? There is learning knowledge, number 1, but the second different type of knowledge is activity knowledge, okay? Activity knowledge. So now it's one thing to learn. It's another thing to take action on that learning. Let me give you a prime example. So we could read a book on how to swim. You could literally learn what type of strokes you would be doing in the water. Okay, you could literally learn about how to properly dive. You could learn legitimately how to basically swim. And you could be the best learner when it comes to swimming. But until you get into the pool, until you actually start doing and utilizing the hand movements, you haven't actually learned what you're supposed to be learning. Okay, so there is learning knowledge, and then there is activity knowledge, right? Activity knowledge is one of the most powerful ways to learn something, because now you're taking the information that you have and now applying that information correctly in order to get the result that you want. So learning knowledge plays one big role. Activity knowledge helps you understand that role and understand what it is that you're doing a little bit deeper. And then that will lead you into now what? Modeling knowledge. Modeling knowledge is absolutely powerful. The reason I talk about modeling knowledge is because obviously when you learn something and you start applying it, okay, you get better, you get good, right? Learning knowledge, activity knowledge. Third one, modeling knowledge. Now you start to model the right type of people. If you're swimming, okay, and you want to get a better, you want to be a better swimmer, what are you going to do? You're going to model some of the greatest. You're going to go out there and model, okay, Michael Phelps. You're going to go out there and model all these big time swimmers and people that have had a massive amount of success when it comes to swimming, right? So learning knowledge, activity knowledge, and what? Modeling knowledge. All three play a massive, massive, massive role in order to understand and grasp something. Now, the last knowledge is teaching knowledge. Okay, a lot of people don't know this, but you actually learn a lot of times, not just through, okay, not through just the books, okay, not just through, how could I say this? Not through just the books, not through just, how could I say this? Activity, not just through modeling, but also through teaching. So teaching knowledge is the last step, right, to this entire thing. And I truly believe, like I said one more time, that this last and final step, okay, is the step that gets you really there to the next level, okay? Because at that point in time, once you teach it, that's when you really know what it is that you're talking about, right? That is the last real step to the 4 levels of learning. So guys, understand that these 4 levels you're going to have to go through. The biggest problem that I see with most people is what happens is, okay, they try to skip steps. They go into learning knowledge all the way straight to, okay, teaching knowledge. Okay, that is the biggest problem. They go straight from learning knowledge all the way to teaching knowledge. And that's something that, you know, I myself don't like to do, and most people do, which is kind of wrong, where you want to go through all 4 steps in order to properly teach something, right? Other than that, guys, I appreciate every single one of you guys for hopping on the entire call today. I'm going to pass it back to Mandy. I can't wait to see all of y'all in Miami, right, on June 4th to the 6th. It's going to be absolutely incredible, right? We're going to be talking about certain different types of concepts like this, about the 4 different levels of learning, and really like the fundamentals that, you know, goes down into breaking down this entire business. You know, a lot of times people ask us, you know, where do you learn this type of stuff? Okay, where can you get it? We are going to be releasing a book June 4th to the 6th in Miami. It's going to be like a playbook that's going to provide you guys really all the information, okay, to get to the next level. So I'll see every single one of you guys out there in Miami. I can't wait. I'm going to pass it back to Mandy for her to take it away. I appreciate you, Mandy, one more time, and let's run it up.
Yo, drop some C250s in the chat. Everybody say hi to Leanne. Hi. Say hi to Cruz. I love you guys. I will talk to you guys later. Have an amazing, amazing night. And I will drop this recording on our YouTube channel. Bye, guys.